This program airs statewide on California Public Television and is a California's Gold classic. This series is endorsed by the California Teachers Association, the California School Boards Association, and the California Library Association. You know, they've been a part of the California landscape since the earliest pioneer days. They've pulled our wagons, helped to scrape out our canals, worked on our farms, provided transportation, and given us a way to get over those big mountains. It was the mule that provided the pull that helped construct engineering marvels like the Los Angeles Aqueduct. And who doesn't know the almost mythic story of Borax and the world-famous 20-mule team? And on this particular adventure, we've come up here to the nice little town of Bishop, located up in the eastern Sierra Nevada. It's a beautiful California day. Not a cloud in the sky, the air is clear, there's snow up on the mountains, and we've joined up with several thousand other people to pay tribute to the good old mule. There are lots of mules here today, and of course every one of these mules is a fine example of California's gold. Bishop Mule Days have been a California tradition for almost 30 years now, and the Mule Parade is one of the highlights. In fact, it holds the distinction of being the longest-running non-mechanized parade in the United States, with thousands of people lining Main Street to watch as hundreds of mules parade by. Then the action moves over to the fairgrounds for all kinds of mule events. We're talking about everything, starting with exciting mule races. And if that's not your cup of tea, how about some English jumping events? Roman chariot racing. Then there's Roman chariot roping. Cow cutting. The ever crowd-pleasing obstacle course. Barrel racing, and all kinds of other events, all of them, of course, starring the mules. But it's away from the arena, back in the barns and stable area, where you can wander around and get the true flavor of what Mule Days are all about.
This is a jack.
This is a jack.
Yeah, jackass. This is the father of the mules. If it weren't for him, there wouldn't be any mules.
Now wait a minute, so this isn't a mule?
No, he's a jack, American jack donkey.
That's the biggest donkey I've ever seen. That's a big donkey, isn't it?
He's not as big as they come, but
Really?
he's only he'll be 5 next month, so he's got another inch or so.
See, I think people get confused.
Oh yeah, he gets called a mule quite a bit. But he is done real well in performance. He won me a saddle last year, and
Look at these ears, Louie. Look at the size of these ears.
he's got some really nice babies on the ground. Makes nice mules.
Wow. Oh, so he's a breeding.
Yes, we use him for breeding.
You breed him with a mare.
Right, and you get a mule.
So a donkey and a mare
Make a mule.
make a mule.
Right. The best qualities of both go into the animal, and you get a true hybrid.
I'm learning. Oh, we got a whole bunch of mules over here. Tell us about these mules.
These mules are from Temecula, Hemet area, California. They've been purchased for the use of packing out elk and deer in the mountains.
So these are pack mules.
These are pack mules.
Now, is this the same use they would have been put to 100 years ago or 150 years ago here in Close.
Pretty close.
Same
Pretty
thing.
close. Yeah, same thing.
Hasn't changed much, has it?
Hasn't changed much at all. That's kind of why we do it.
Now, do they like packing into the wild?
I think they thoroughly enjoy themselves once they get up to the mountains.
Oh, boy.
Are you okay?
Wait a minute now.
Oh, look out there.
Now this gentleman's going to show me how to rub a mule's ears.
First thing you do is let them smell you, so they know you, that you're their friend. That's your friend. See her? She's putting her nose over there. All right, go touch her nose. Come on up. Keep coming. Work your way up to the top up there, to her forehead. Then just go ahead above that and onto the mule and just touch it. See?
Oh.
See how that is? And
they like that.
They love it. She likes that. See? And you can do that. And don't beat them. If she jumps away, don't beat her, because it makes them worse.
Don't do what?
Don't beat her. In other words, hit her.
Oh, I wouldn't hit a mule.
No, but a lot of people do.
Really?
You know, they think they're doing good for them, but they're not doing any good.
Yeah.
See, that's how you rub the nails.
Now, you're a mule man, aren't you?
Mule man. My name's Larry Regal.
What makes a mule man?
Makes a mule man a man that been around mules all his life and understand them. That makes a mule man. It takes years to learn this.
And you like them?
Oh, yes.
You like them better than horses, don't you?
Better than horses, yeah. I rode them all my life. They're more sure-footed, and they don't get themselves in problems. They'll quit. They'll stop on you if it's a problem. They'll quit on you. In other words, we say sell out. They stop. They won't hurt themselves.
They're gentle too.
They're gentle. You make them gentle from the time you start them with babies. Play with them, be with them, and be their friends. And that you'll make a nice mule.
Okay, we have found us a white mule. Tell us about this. You don't see many white mules around.
Not too many. This is an Appaloosa, Spots Illustrated.
Spots Illustrated.
Spots Illustrated.
Now, why don't you see very many white mules?
It's hard to get color, is what they call anything like an Appaloosa or a paint. Just like in horses, it's hard to get color.
So is this like a thoroughbred mule?
No. There's no such thing.
But I mean, is it a expensive mule? Is it a...
Probably you can get more money for the ones with color, yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Because it's a beaut.
Well, thank you.
What's his name again?
Spots Illustrated.
Oh, boy.
Her barn name is Peaches.
Peaches. What do you mean her barn name?
Well, you have like their nicknames. That's called their barn name. And then their show name is their real name.
And this, like, can I rub its ears?
Probably.
I've learned how. I've learned how.
Okay.
You go up and let them smell you.
She's a little leery of people.
Really?
Yeah, she is. She was not treated too well by men when she was a baby.
Yeah.
So she's a little spooky.
Yeah. So it's best for me to stay away from the rear?
Yeah, I would
and
do
from
that
the
if I was
front?
you. Yeah, I'd
and
stand.
I'll just stay on this
why
side
don't
of
you stand
you.
here with me.
Now here's a lady down here doing the unglamorous part of the mule show.
Yes.
Comes with the territory, doesn't it?
You have to have a clean pen, to have a clean animal.
I got you. Well, this is a beautiful animal.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about this mule.
Well, I got her when she was a year old. She was my 20th wedding anniversary present. My husband got it for me, yes. I always had quarter horses before, and he got me this little mule, which she was little at the time.
Because that isn't a little mule
No.
now.
She's going to be 6 in July.
Well, come over here and talk to us a little bit about it, because this is a beautiful, look how it shines.
Yeah, and I didn't body clip her either. This is just her normal coat.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, I think mules are getting shortchanged. I don't think people appreciate mules as much as maybe they should.
No, I don't think they do either. A mule is unusual. That's why my husband got it for me, because you go down the street riding a mule, everyone turns their head and look, because you don't see that many of them.
Yeah.
And they get a bad rap because everyone says, oh, you're stubborn as a mule, or you're stupid like a mule, but a mule is very smart. You have to be 2 steps ahead of them at all times.
Yeah.
She was in the parade this morning and she's a little bit tired.
Yeah.
And she's run the barrels just a few minutes ago. She's real tired.
So if I put my hand up.
She'd smell you. Oh, you're okay.
And now I want to reach up and do
Yep.
her ears.
And you can.
Oh, and that's what they love.
That's right.
Help me rub her ears.
That's the way you want to get attached to these. They don't like to be mistreated just like anything, but they're a lot more gentle and they're easier with people like a dog. They're not as flighty as a horse. They're more quiet and calm with people once they understand you're not going to eat them.
And mules have been around a long time in California, hadn't they?
Mules have been around a long time everywhere. People don't realize where the mule originally came from. The mule originally came from Asia, from the high Alps. They couldn't use donkeys because donkeys didn't carry enough weight. They couldn't use the big draft horses because the draft horses were too big and couldn't stumble through the rocks. So a nice Asian man says, "We'll breed this donkey to this big draft horse," and that's where the mule came from originally.
And that's why they're so at home in the Sierra Nevada.
Exactly. And they're one of the easiest animals to get in hard rocks. They can travel through the rocks like a goat.
So they're made for this terrain up here in the Sierra Nevada.
Yeah, they're made to work. And if you go back through history from the Egyptian pyramids and the Greek architecture and on into the West, and in the United States in the early stages, George Washington was raising mules. They've been doing the energy part of the animal life over the years. The horses were paraded around and looked very pretty, transporting people, but the behind the scenes, the mules were doing the work through history.
And especially in California.
Well, yes, because it took a big miserable desert to get across to get into California, and the mules crossed it better than the horses, and even the overland stagecoach in the desert areas were using mules rather than horses.
Really?
That's right.
You know, I think maybe mules have been shortchanged in the history books.
Well, they have been because if you take back to about 1860 when photography started, the pictures were taken of buildings and of carriages and fancy horses. But behind the scenes, the trucks of that day were the mules, or the farming tractors were mules. They were doing the energy part of the program.
What was it? Mules were used to build railroads?
Well, they built the Rose Bowl too. But
what?
The excavation of the Rose Bowl in Pasadena was done by mules.
Really?
And Fresno, California has the name Fresno because it was mules digging all of the canals through for the water system of Fresno. So mules were very much an energy source of California.
Now, when you talk about California history and you talk about mules, this is about as historic as it gets, isn't it?
Well, you're right. This side of the Sierra is where you had to use mule teams for freighting, even as late as the late 19th century. On the other side, by that time, in fact, long before then, you were using steamboats on the rivers and railroads.
But over here, it was mule power.
For freight, yeah.
And we've kind of recreated something that your great-great-grandfather started a long time ago back here in the eastern Sierra.
Well, he did in the late 60s, from the late 60s to the early 80s. He was the principal freighter.
1860s.
Yeah, did I say 1860s, of course.
Yeah.
And he freighted from Pomona County clear down to San Bernardino County, and even in the east side of San Bernardino County.
Now, when you say he freighted, you're talking about bringing out gold and silver bullion.
Well, yes, mostly silver. Gold was usually transported by Wells Fargo in the stagecoaches, but silver and silver lead was you had to use freight wagons for that. And most of the eastern Sierra mining camps in the late 19th century were silver towns rather than gold. Bodie and Randsburg were exceptions to that.
Now, tell us what kind of wagons and what kind of mule trains your great-great-grandfather had back then.
Well, he started out in 1868 with one wagon and about 12 mules. But then over the period of years, he gradually increased the number of mules, 14, 16. In the middle 70s, he was using 16 and 18 mule teams. By 1881 and so on, he was using, I've seen it in the old newspapers, using 20 and 22 mules.
And is this one of the original wagons?
This one here is, it was used on the route from Cerro Gordo down to Owens Lake.
Uh-huh.
And it's a smaller wagon, and most of them were maybe almost twice as high as this. Bigger wheels, 6-foot wheels, that sort of thing.
But it would be filled with ore.
Well, not filled, no, not ore, bullion.
Bullion.
Yeah, it was not too economic to haul ore very far. It has to be pretty high-grade ore, although some of it was hauled from Cerro Gordo down to the lake.
But these were the big blocks of bullion,
well,
silver.
They were, I don't know, about so long.
That's big.
And we weighed about 85 pounds apiece.
And now it's filled with people. And we've only got 2 mules here. How many would he have?
Well, anywhere from 14 to 20. I think down the grade from Cerro Gordo was more likely to be 14 or 16.
Well, we don't have 14 or 16, but we're doing our little bit for historical reenactment here. Can we go around one more time, or are those mules getting tired? We can do it. All right, one more time around.
Come on, boy.
Boy, that's a lot of wagon to be pulling, isn't it?
It certainly is, yeah.
But this is the way they did it.
Well, yeah. He freighted as far as Benton and Mammoth City in Mono County, and far south is Calico and Ivanpah. Some of the towns, nothing there today. They're all ghost towns today. Some aren't even much on the map at all.
But the old ore wagons still remain like this one, and it brings to mind this bit of history that says if there hadn't been mules, the gold rush and the ore and the bullion and all of that wouldn't have gotten to market like they ended up getting. Now, this is really a part of mule history here. Introduce yourself to us and tell us the significance of these mules right here behind us.
Well, I am Jeff Beard, and this is Danny Head, and these mules belong to the Marine Corps, and they're part of the last military pack string that's owned today.
Now, when you say the last military pack string of mules, why do you use these things?
Well, we use them to resupply because some areas you just can't reach by vehicle or by air because of weather and things like that. The mule will go no matter the weather, no matter the terrain. He'll follow you right along, carrying the loads for you.
So what do you do? Do you take recruits, or who trains around mules today?
Well, we get Marines from basically the different companies of the Marine Corps, and they come to us, and we train 21 per class in basic military animal packing and how to move their gear and equipment through the mountains.
And in the Marine Corps today, there's still a use for the old mule and the old pack?
Yes, there is, because you can't always get your vehicles where you want them, and so the mule or any type of animal will get you there.
And what do the soldiers think about this? What do the Marines think about this when you introduce them to mules today?
A lot of guys are in shock. In a modern army, they're looking at it like, no, this isn't true, can't be. But they eventually learn to enjoy it, and they hate to leave at the end of it.
And what about the dog? Where's your dog? Come here, Sarge. This is your pack dog here. Tell us about Sarge.
Okay, Sarge, I got Sarge about a year ago. And he just took to the mules. He thinks they're his. He lives with them, stays with them all the time. They don't leave the barn that he's not with them.
Because I'd heard that mules and dogs don't always get along.
Well, they don't always get along. He keeps them in line. He's kind of the boss down there, and he just keeps them in line. If they're acting up, he settles them down, calms them down. And he's really pretty good with them.
And how did you come up with the name Sarge?
I can't take credit for that. He was named that whenever I got him, but it fits.
Well, it's a very interesting part of what's going on in the Marine Corps today. You would never think that something with as old a history as this was still going.
No, you wouldn't, but the Marines did see a use for it and said, hey, someday we may have to resort back to this. And they brought it back in 1983, and it's been going strong ever since.
Also, it went out and then came back.
Yes, it did. It went out, it came back. A few officers said, hey, this is a good source of transportation. Let's bring it back. Let's try it for 3 to 5 years. If it works, we'll keep it. It worked, they kept it, and we continue to get funding for it, and so far it's proven itself.
Now, how hard is it to keep these mules going like this?
Not too hard. They've been working a long time together, so they stay pretty close. We just have to worry about the people mostly.
Getting out of the way.
Yeah.
How many mules in this?
There's an 8 hitch.
An 8 hitch? So if it's this big a deal for 8 of them, it must have really been something for one of those 20 mule teams.
Oh yeah, and the 20 mule team's sitting up there right now. The driver, Bobby Canner.
Oh, he's driven 20.
Yeah.
Boy, look at this. They're really moving. I guess that's what you want them to be doing, isn't it?
Yeah, they look pretty when they're stretched out.
What do you mean stretched out?
When they're all nice and stretched out and all the lines are straight.
Wow. It looks good. Looks good. Well, part of the fun of coming up here to Bishop Mule Days is just kind of hanging out. I mean, look at this campground here right on the grounds. This is a spectacular place, and I ran into these two guys out by the arena, and you tell me that you bring your families here every year.
Yeah, we've been coming up here for about 8 or 9 years. We started out just fishing, and then when the Mule Days thing started, we're all in the horses and stuff. And the fun thing is just being together. We're all firemen down from LA County, and most of us live in Orange County and Riverside County. And we love to come out here, get the kids to playing, and everybody pitches in on the cooking, and we get 40, 50 people to eat and just sit on this beautiful scenery.
And what do you know about mules?
Well, they're pretty stubborn, but when you hang out with this bunch, you're kind of used to stubborn things anyway. So.
Now listen, mules aren't stubborn, they're just smart.
Well, they're probably a little smarter than us. That's probably where we run into most of the trouble.
Now it's time for breakfast, and what are we having here?
These are the famous Raby potatoes, named after the famous Raby here.
So these are your famous potatoes.
We've been doing these a long time.
These are Mule Day potatoes.
Mule Day. Correct, that's exactly. These are 1/4 done though. We got a lot more ingredients to put in here.
Right, what have we got over here?
We got the bacon and sausage, and these are from Tehachapi, and he makes all this stuff himself from his own pigs.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
So these are Mule Day sausages.
That's it. That's it.
And the ladies over here are making up what, a salad and got fresh strawberries and all kind of things going on.
Home-raised eggs, all them. That's why they all look so different.
And look over here, Louis, right on the other side of the fence. There's what we're doing all of this in front of. Look at the mountains over there. This doesn't get any better than this.
No better than this. Right next to the mule track and right under the snow.
Oh, so the mules just come right by here.
Yep, this is the track. There's the starting gate right there. So we get a little bit of the dust with the eggs, but it tastes good.
Now, you were telling me that the mules are sociable animals.
Very, with each other, very, and they get used to being in their same group. And like I say, if you take 7 of these 8 mules and take off to go to work with them, that 8th mule wants to go, even though he's going to work. He don't want to stay tied up here. He wants to go with his buddies.
And I heard that mules and horses bond together real closely.
Very good, very good. If you have a lead horse like the Packers use up here, to catch his mules, really, all he has to do is catch this lead horse that's been leading those mules, and those mules will follow that horse.
Really?
They'll go wherever you take the horse.
What is it about mules that have them bonding like this with other animals?
Well, I think it's just they get used to being together, and they don't want to be left behind. They don't want to be apart. Once they're used to being with whether it's a horse or just another group of mules.
Now this is what we've been waiting for. We have been here for 2 days trying to catch on camera one of these mules when they bray. And it's hard to get them to bray on cue, isn't it?
Yes, sir, it is. It is, but our mule over here, I believe, will do the job for you today.
Now tell us what's going to happen. Why, you know, it isn't going to be this mule that's braying.
No, it's going to be this one over here. It's my wife's mule named Belle. And her and Charlene have been kept together. This is my mule for a long time. When I take Charlene out, Belle calls for her sister.
Okay, because they're close together.
Well, they're kept together at home all the time.
So
Same
look at
pen.
this, Louis. We got the 2 mules here together. You're going to take this one out. Come on, let's see what happens now. As soon as we take Charlene out, this other one's going to start. Bring her this way. Well, that was... You're right, she's braying. One more time for us. That mule. Well, I hope you've enjoyed our visit here to Bishop, California for their annual Mule Days. Not only have we met a lot of nice people, but hopefully we've all learned a lot about these California mules and about the role they've played in history. Of course, they're all fine examples of California's gold. I'm Huel, and this is a mule, and it's time to say goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, mule. Well, hello everybody, I'm Huell Hauser, and I sure hope you enjoyed this adventure. If you'd like to see it again or share it with your family or friends, or perhaps donate a copy to your local school or library, it's available on video cassette and on DVD. All you have to do is call 1-800-266-5727, and we'll be glad to send it to you right away. Well, hello everybody, I'm Huell Hauser, and guess what? It's coming up again. Mule Days, May 24th through the 29th in Bishop, with all kinds of activities. Everything from mule races to the big parade itself. And if you've never been, trust me, this is well worth a visit. All of it a lot of fun. And all of it in honor of the good old California mule.